first road trip to the SEC. For you to try to win a championship like we talked about before SEC play started, these are games you got to come ready to play, find a way to get a win. But it hasn't been an easy place for us to play 2 years ago when we were the #1 overall seed. Tournament, we barely snuck out of there with a win in overtime. So this is a team that has beaten Clemson at home. They've been a little bit up and down. Obviously, they didn't play well against Mississippi State. We all saw that score, but I think we should expect a team more like what played Clemson than what played Mississippi State. And coming off that loss, I'm sure Coach Paris will have them ready to go. This will be another team that's got one of our former players, and Nick Pringle. And he was great for us in the Final Four run. Had a lot of really good games for us here over his 2 years. It'd be good to see him. He's playing well for them. It's their second leading scorer. Their front court's been carrying this team. Him and Murray Boyles have been really good for him. We've got to do a better job guarding the post than what we've done in the past. And offensively, we got to keep taking care of the ball, not turn it over. It'd be nice if we start making some shots, but I think we've been focused on getting the right shots for the right guys. So hopefully our shooting percentage will come up a little bit. But looking forward to our first conference road game. These are games where find out whether your team's going to be able to compete for a championship or not. So, and what we had going this week, Saul Barron made freshman of the week for the third time. It's the only freshman to make it for 3 times. And you look at some of the talent that's coming to the SEC this year. That's a really good award for him. Love the fact he's playing as well. I think there's still a lot more in him, but it's good that people recognize he's helping us. He's on a winning team, helping us win big games. He's not just a freshman putting up big points on a losing team. So I think there's a lot to be said for that with the people that vote for these awards. And thank you to them for recognizing what kind of impact he has on winning.
Charlie?
Kind of talk about overlooking South Carolina. Just how do you feel like the guys are maybe locking in practice when you do have 3 ranked games after this one?
Yeah, I didn't even realize we had 3 ranked games after this one. I don't know that they did either because nobody's talked about it. I don't even know if anybody realized it. I just know we got a bunch of ranked games the rest of the year with this SEC. So I feel like our guys have been pretty mature. I thought we had a great practice yesterday. We were off Sunday, so we got after it pretty good yesterday. Just got out of practice today. It was a lot shorter, but I thought it was pretty crisp. I thought they got after it pretty good today. We just didn't go that long. So I feel like they're locked in to what we need to do. I think we've got enough veteran guys to understand the meaning of these games, and I don't think we'll overlook South Carolina knowing how good they were last year. I mean, Clemson, we split with Clemson last year. We're 1-2 against Clemson since I've been here. So for them to beat Clemson's already beat Kentucky this year. That we know they're a good team. Our guys know they're a good team. Occasionally good teams have bad games. I think that's what happened Saturday.
Nick?
Yeah, you mentioned Nick Pringle. Kind of follow up on that. Like, how have you seen his role maybe been different for them, or how has he changed as a player from his time there?
They obviously play different than us. They play through the post more, so he gets more post touches, and he's been pretty good with them. I see some stuff he did for us that he's doing for them. Probably helping their offense a little bit. They play a lot slower than we do, so he's getting less in transition. But when the opportunity's there, he's still an unbelievable athlete. He can get out and run, so he'll take advantage if we're lazy in our transition D, and he'll get out. But the biggest thing is he's just getting a lot more post touches. He's playing more on the perimeter for us and kind of being a connector. Now he's actually getting fed and expected to score in the post, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. We're going to have to do a good job guarding him in there.
Mike?
I think Miles Stubbe had 19 when they played Clemson. You've done a pretty good job against them historically, but how do you carry that over to this game?
Yeah, you can't get any open threes. I mean, he doesn't miss many open ones, particularly in the corners. His percentage is a lot higher in corner threes than the rest of them. So when he's in the corner, we can't give him any easy catch and shoot threes. From anywhere really, on open catch and shoots, he's shooting a really high percentage. So whoever's on him has to be alert to that, and he just can't get you open threes off.
mentioned competing for the conference. It seems like when I talk, at least currently this season, it's been like Auburn and Tennessee at that 1A range, and then you guys maybe in that 1B range just in terms of perception. Does that give a chip on y'all's shoulders? That's something the players kind of are looking to prove.
You know what? You'd have to ask them, but I would hope it would. But I mean, I understand it. Tennessee's undefeated. Auburn's played as well as anybody in the country all year. You know, those two teams look great. You know, we've fallen a couple times. Our road game at Purdue, we didn't look very good. A couple areas, I think we've cleaned a lot of that up since Purdue. The neutral one against Oregon, that's the one right to went out in, so we had to try to make some adjustments on the fly. We really haven't been healthy, but shoot, it's a game of basketball. There's a lot of injuries happening in it. You gotta figure it out, whether it's in the middle of the game, whatever, you gotta figure it out on the fly. So we've dropped a couple. Auburn's only lost one, and they've looked very dominant in all their wins. Tennessee hasn't lost any, but yeah, we've got something to prove. We're flying under the radar a little bit, which is nice for a change, you know. So we'll, we gotta come in playing like we've got something to prove every game out.
Blake.
Yeah, just what have you seen from Grant Nelson this season, and where maybe have you seen him improve from a year ago?
Yeah, I think he's been a lot more aggressive on the glass. I think he's just being more assertive. You know, he's getting the rim. He's you know, he was not healthy all last year either, up until he's had a few little nicks here and there. But you know, he had the hip groin deal, wherever it wasn't there, that he was out all summer with. After we got it taken care of after the year, that's been healthy all year. So he's been more explosive, I thought. You know, he's been shooting the three a little bit better here over the last week or two. So if we can get him to keep his foot off the line, he'd have 3 more threes in the last 2 games. So, but he has been shooting it better. But I think the biggest joy, and we're trying to post him a little bit more because he can pass out of it. You know, he's turning it over. A month or so ago, I think he's done a better job of that, not turning it over when we post him. But you know, he's playing more at the four, so he's got a little bit more mismatches with him going against fours than when he was at the five as much as he was last year.
Chase.
What are you seeing from Phylon now that maybe you weren't seeing when practice started in the preseason?
It's a good question because he was pretty good in the preseason, but I think he's definitely got some experience. I think he understands that you know, every play matters. You know, where before, and he didn't take many possessions off. He's been pretty locked in most of the time he's been here. But I just think he's starting to realize that the margin for winning and losing at this level is very thin. So every play matters, both offense and defense. Careless with the ball, bad shot, you know, turnover, a bad shot, you kind of threw away an offensive possession. In these tight games, you don't have that type of margin of error to throw away those possessions. So I think he's a lot more, you know, cognizant of the fact we've got to get a great possession every time on offense, and same on defense. You can't take possessions off with, you know, playing good teams and as tight as some of these games are going to be.
Hunter.
South Carolina's done a good job of not allowing many threes. Just what have you seen from their perimeter defense?
Yeah, no, they do a good job building out. You know, they fly around, they play hard. I mean, Lamont's done a really good job since he's been there. I think he's one of the 4 finalists for National Coach of the Year. I think one of the better things he's done since he's been here is get the team to play really hard. So, you know, schematic-wise, sometimes, you know, like when we didn't give up many threes when we had Bediako, we drop, play the pick and roll with only 2, and just kind of stay locked on the shooters. They're not quite that way. They don't have a Bediako in the middle, but they, you know, they'll switch pick and rolls, which you should be able to guard with 2 guys. They'll blitz pick and rolls, which you got to pull a 3rd guy in on that. But when they do that, they seem like they fly around and really try to run you off the line and then just rotate and make it. So I do think we can get the ball moving, you know, if they choose, and I think we can generate some good threes off it. But it's going to be hard. They play hard, but I think the opportunities are going to be there. Some teams we play just refuse, but they will put 2 on the ball voluntarily and try to turn you over, whether it's a blitz and a pick and roll or doubling some stuff, and then they'll just try to fly around, and they do a pretty good job flying around and running you off the line.
In the back.
Coach, we've seen what Cliff could do offensively, specifically on Saturday. What would you like to see him do defensively as you guys get into the grind at SEC play?
Yeah, I mean, Cliff's got to really protect the lane. He's got to do a better job in ball screens, really guarding that ball screen as much as possible with two guys. You know, not letting the roller get behind him like he did in the Oklahoma game a few times. Guarding that stack, pick and roll coverage, he's got to do a better job at that. So I think his pick and roll defense has to be improved. His post defense, it's gotten better, you know, but he's got to continue to get better in action. We're going to play some good post players, and there's teams in our league that feed the post a lot, and he's going to have to guard it. A lot of times we're going to ask him to guard it one-on-one, and he's just got to kind of patrol the lane and protect the rim and make sure teams aren't getting any easy buckets at the rim. So, you know, I thought he was really good offensively out of the gate. He was good both sides of the ball out of the gate. I thought our whole team was great defensively for the first half against Oklahoma in the second half. Not so well, but I thought he had a good mindset coming out. He's got to keep getting out of pick and rolls faster so our guards can find him more and put more pressure on the rim. I think that'll help open up some open threes too, and they're got to really be worried about him coming downhill at the rim. So he's been good, but there's a lot of room for improvement, and he can always get a lot better as a team moving forward.
Last call for Coach Oats. Nick?
Nick ruined it.
Just another follow-up too, just again with the second game that you played a former player, within the last two games, like are there any challenges to when a player has been here and they know your system, or does it kind of change so much year to year?
Yeah, I mean, Nick's a smart player. He's going to know our play calls. He's going to know, you know, we've got some new stuff, but probably 80% of it is what we were doing last year. So he's going to know what we're doing on some play calls. I'm sure he's going to alert them to it. They're going to be a little more prepared than maybe some other teams would be. But, you know, we've got new personnel. We play so much in the flow anyways. We're not calling a set unless there's a dead ball typically. So, you know, it does present a few challenges, but like I tell our team, I don't really care if the other team knows we're running. We have to run it correctly. So if they know what we're doing, that's great. We know how to attack every different type of coverage. So, you know, if they're going to cover one way, we're going to attack it, and the guys got to make the right read. So, you know, it's a little bit different, but and Nick's playing more than Wage had been playing too, so he'll be in there. The other way of it is our guys know him and should know how to guard him better than just guarding a random guy that they've never seen before. So, you know, we've got that advantage a little bit. You know, Cliff wasn't here last year, but some of our guys were. You know, Dubate in the front court was here, Jaron was here, Grant was here, whoever ends up being on him will have a little bit better idea of how to guard him, hopefully, than just playing some random guy. But again, we didn't post him a ton last year, so we're gonna have to guard him a lot more in the post here in this game than what we probably did in practice last year. So, all right, thanks, folks.